This is Straightening the Record, episode 2. I have in here, in my living room, with me, all 4 members of Honeycreeper, which is so much better than I expected. I'm so happy you all got to make it. That song you just heard, starting the podcast there, was White Letters 2.0. Not really called that. Just wanted to make an AOL joke. And real quick, if we could go around and maybe like say who you are, what you do in the band, you can mention other projects if you want.
Sure, yeah. Lindsay Keese, I do drums in Honeycreeper, and a couple of us are also in Tree Branch Twig. I also do vocals in Honeycreeper and some songwriting.
Jessica Villegas, and I play lead guitar in Honeycreeper, do some songwriting, run Foxholes and Tree Branch Twig, sometimes Les Poe. I'm also Jess V, solo project.
I'm Lisa Berner. I'm rhythm guitar in Honeycreeper. Newest addition to the band. Almost a year next month.
Yay!
And I'm also in Odd Pets.
I'm Kelsey Thrab, and I play bass and I sing a little bit. And I'm also in Tree Branch Twig.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that. Just like so people can hear a voice and kind of know what they're associating that with. So something I was thinking about a little bit in the weeks leading up to this was I think it's a fun thing about being in bands where when you first start one, you often have like an idea of what you want to do with it, and you like approach 1 or 2 other people, and you're kind of like, hey, let's do this kind of band, or let's do this together. And I'm sort of curious as to what that was like for you all, like, and whether that has stayed true, or in what ways it might have changed.
This was all an accident.
That's a great answer.
It was.
It was very
You wanna do it?
intentional between me and Kelsey. I don't know, we started writing songs together. You can tell the story if you want to. She loves this story.
So when she moved back into town, she was talking to Brad, and she was like, I kind of want to be in a band. I want to play music. And he was like, okay, I think Kelsey plays music. He was, I think you guys like hang out with each other. She's like, yeah, I don't hate Kelsey. I'm going to ask her if she wants to be in a band with me.
I don't hate Kelsey.
Yeah.
Good endorsement.
That was pretty much a direct quote.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
hate you. Do you want to be in a band?
Yeah. So we both decided to pick up instruments that we had no idea how to play,
Oh, that's
and we
exciting.
learned them together.
Yeah.
And it was a very slow start, but it was also very rewarding. But we needed more band members.
But Lindsay turned me down to be in a band with her earlier because I didn't know her, and I was just like, hey, music stuff. And I was really awkward, sent her a really awkward Facebook message.
Oh yeah.
It was weird. It wasn't that I didn't want to play with you. It was that you sent it, and I was like, well, I'm already in a band with Kelsey. Why would we need another guitarist? Because I was playing guitar at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, I mean, we'd love to, but we don't need you right now.
And then, like, how long? It was like maybe like 8 months later, or 6 months later, or something like that.
It was like 6 months. Because I sent her the message in like September or something. And then all of a sudden in like February, no, it was in like January, hey, do you want to play this cover show? And I was like, sure.
Yeah, the band formed because we wanted to play Rex Manning Day.
Oh, that's awesome.
It
Yeah.
must have been 2016.
That's
Spring
like
Rex Manning Day.
Yeah.
such a cool tradition.
Yeah.
I think it's a really fun thing.
Rick
What band were you covering at that? I don't remember.
We did a few different covers. It was the 60s,
Okay.
Rex Manning.
Yeah.
So we did like a Stooges cover, we did Mamas and the Papas cover, we did some other covers.
It's been a while.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's cool. You don't have to remember all of them. But you kept doing that Stooges cover.
Oh yeah, we love
We
it.
should keep doing that actually.
Yeah, it's fun.
Um,
We also did a Christmas show, so we did a bunch of Christmas songs too. So we've got a lot of covers under our belt, but we also have our originals as well.
Yeah, it's not such a bad thing to have a lot of covers available to you, like if you ever wanted to play a long gig.
Whoa. They're not available to us. We probably don't remember how to play. I don't remember how to play.
We could pick it back up.
Well, that's fair.
Well, yeah, we've written 7 songs at this point, and they're all so short that the new album's still only 18 minutes. good song.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
we have written 8. There's one song that's not on there.
Right.
We
Are we not
don't talk
talking
about that
about
song
that?
anymore.
Oh, that's too bad. I
No,
like that
There's
just-
one.
actually quite a few on the back burner.
Yeah.
Jess is working on a new one.
That's cool.
hmm
For that one.
It was our very first song.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
called Home. We released it before on
Yeah.
demos and stuff. But
Yeah,
we
listen-
quite pulled it together.
I've listened to the demo a bit. I like that song. I think
Mhm.
it's really cool.
It's fun. That's where you can see some tree branch twig kind of creeping into it because the end
Yeah,
just
it gets kind
experimental.
of noisy.
Yeah.
But it's also got some surfy vibes in
Thanks to Jess.
it. Yeah.
Always.
Very, very cool song in my opinion. And I thought it was a nice way to end that too. Now, will that still be available when you release the new EP? Or are you gonna like
Or taking
say
it all down.
Oh,
Just
really?
immediately was like,
Yeah.
get
All
rid
the
of it.
demos, we were like, we don't need to do demos anymore, take them away.
it was still on your Bandcamp when I listened to it last
Bandcamp
night?
is still up. That
Yeah.
will change tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So never mind everybody, don't get to listen at home.
hope to
Again,
record it.
We could
yeah.
leave home on
We
there.
will.
It's,
We're working
it's
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
in
Figure out what we
process.
wanna do.
So it might come back.
Might come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Well, because you know our formation of our band changed,
Right.
and so we were working on getting our this album done,
Mhm.
and Home was just kind of it doesn't really fit with everything else exactly.
And
That makes sense.
So we didn't
have
really
time to
spend a whole lot
workshop.
of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Lisa hasn't had as much time with that song, so we didn't have time to record that.
That's fair.
But we'll
Um,
probably record it someday.
That actually is kind of a good segue. Because you said you joined up like a little less than a year ago.
yeah.
And you've written a couple of the tunes on the new.
Just one.
Oh, just one. Okay.
I sing on Vagina Tax, but Jess wrote that one.
Oh, cool.
I just don't like singing, so I make everybody else sing the song.
That's fair.
Or vocalists. and
Yeah,
artists.
yeah, that's fair. Well, I love that song.
She does sing on the record.
I do.
Oh my god.
Barely.
See if you can find it.
Yep.
Listen to the record.
Yeah. So when it came to the song that you did bring in, is it like something where you were trying to decide if that was gonna be like an Odd Pet song or a Honeycreeper song, or did you like write it in?
It's like the week that Honeycreeper interviewed me to be a band, I had been like digging around with this song on my own and not for Odd Pets. And then when I had in my audition, I played some music with them and for them, and that was one. I said, well, there's this I've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they liked it, so they're like, let's go with that. And I finished it probably a month later or something, or a little while after that, I don't know.
That's cool.
So we just added it.
Yeah, and since like all of you write songs, does that create like a big collaborative process in practices and stuff? Like, are you like always kind of auditing each other's stuff or like making suggestions?
Yeah,
I think
so
yes and no.
be clarified here. I have not written a song for Honeycreeper, a full song,
Oh, okay.
but
You've written bits.
well, I mean,
You
it's
wrote
like
your bass lines.
yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, I mean, we give suggestions like when Addie was first in, it was without the ending part, you know, it was still good, but we wanted something else, and so we came together and figured out how to make it bigger, and so
That's cool.
it's been a collaborative.
We like to workshop songs. Like, somebody will bring in a song that's like a song, and then we kind of chop it up. Like, sometimes we'll chop it up and like just workshop it to make it better, because other people's ideas are always good to have.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you're writing, like, and it's fun to be like, let's try this instead. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Alone, I originally handpicked that, remember?
Yeah, you
The
did.
first couple times I played it.
And that middle part wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You helped me with that, so.
That's cool. So yeah, you decided it needed to be a strummer instead.
Yeah, well, in the mood of Honeycreeper,
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, let's pick it up a little bit.
that makes sense. So it was like slower too, you think?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think Addie also got faster, right?
A little bit from
It got
the
rockier.
older
Yeah.
recording of
I
it.
first recorded that song with Trevor,
Uh-huh.
really long Trevor from Foxholes a really long time ago, and I was like, I have this song. I don't know what to do with it.
Oh yeah.
It's like
And he wasn't into it, or
no, it was I recorded it for myself, but
Oh,
he just
okay.
helped me. He has like the original recording somewhere,
Yeah.
but
But it was like pre-workshopping and pre
Yeah, and then-
everything.
these two were like, yeah, let's do this, and I was like, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
make
yeah.
it big. Let's have it
Nice.
chill and then go big. Go home.
Yeah,
Or bring it home, I should say.
I really like saying go big and then go home.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a choice between it all. Oh, that's awesome. So we were talking about the Stooges cover, and like, I guess I was curious because when I listen to you guys' music, I think a bit about like, oh, this, you know, you always draw parallels between any new band you're hearing and like other stuff. And I think the strongest thing that I notice personally is like 70s, like kind of new wavy and like early punk stuff. Is that a spot on thing, or is that like sort of accidental? Like,
I see it in a couple layers of that too, because I think Kelsey does like 70s style harmonies kind of.
Yeah.
Which is really strange for punk music, but I think it sounds kind of cool.
Kind of works for some reason. We had to change some of my harmonies because it got a little too cutesy, but
yeah. Well, like the Queers kind of have that,
yeah.
where they do some like it almost sounds like a doo-wop song if it wasn't so fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was something cool about them the first time somebody showed me.
Well, and that's an interesting thing with our sound is like we all have different things that we bring, different genres that we bring into the band, and so it just creates I can never even really peg down what our genre truly is because
Yeah.
It's punk, but with a bunch of like jazz and like classical and surfy stuff, like all hanging out in there too.
Well,
I'd say because it's like fast and punchy, but it's still
music.
yeah, it's music.
Yeah. I always kind of laugh at genres anyway, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you call somebody a punk band and that doesn't even really describe it at all.
Yeah.
Like, because punk could mean like the Ramones, or punk could mean like Minor Threat, or it could mean something
Yeah.
totally else, you know. So like, yeah, that stuff's always kind of annoying when people say like, what kind of music do you play? Like, it's probably even worse when you're trying to talk about like, you should come to this Tree Branch Twig show, and like, what is it? And you're like, maybe.
It's a depressing movie soundtrack.
I don't know. It depends on how we feel that
They
day.
asked me what Tree Ranch Twig music was, and I was like, oh, it's kind of ambient. And she was like, I can use an ambient. I was like, actually, yeah, that's about it. That's Tree Ranch Twig.
Yes, and I think, okay, so yeah, you were talking about like classical and jazz influence, and that ties in with this question I had about like, you two both play stringed instruments. You play cello, you play violin, right? Or is it
No, I'm actually a flutist.
a flautist? Okay. For some reason, okay, so I think the first time I saw you perform, I saw you play on violin, so I thought.
Mandolin. I've done bowed mandolin, and I've
Okay.
messed around with cello and violin before, but I think
Okay.
that kind of stopped.
I knew that Kelsey was somewhat classically trained too, because she and I went to school together, and so I was gonna ask like, and now I feel dumb for it, but I was gonna ask if like any like classical training or jazz training like really plays into the music much, or if that's like sort of intentionally ignored, because sometimes it's fun to just totally disregard that stuff too.
I feel like I wasn't trained past like middle school or like freshman year of high school pretty much,
Mhm.
because I didn't have the opportunity to be trained after that, but like I still, everything I do still has like a slight classical undertone to it
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
it's just there.
Sure.
It's like the first music I played.
Sure, I could see that.
I apply theory sometimes to it, but that's
Yeah, like if you're just trying to think of like, okay, what's gonna come next?
Yeah.
In a song, like maybe you would go to what's the obvious chord change, like
Yeah.
what's the 5,
2-5-1.
Yeah.
4-1.
Good old jazz turnarounds,
Yep.
fun stuff.
But I mean, sometimes that helps my bass lines because I'll think about like my jazz background at least with playing with my left hand
Mm-hmm.
and what I would want that to sound like, and so I tried to play it on the bass.
Yeah, kind of like turn the left hand of the piano into like what you're doing with all of your hands.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about the EP. You recorded it in Iowa City at Flat Black, right? Can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like?
It was neat.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Luke has like a really awesome space out there that he's built within the last like 2 years or something.
It's incredible.
Yeah, like there's a ton of isolation rooms, so pretty much almost recorded live except for me because they don't like to hear me play guitar. So it's my like in our practice space you can't hear me playing. Usually it's just like everything else, so it was just easier. But it's so cool. He has so many things to play with.
Yeah, all sorts of neat stuff.
Did you like try out different amps and stuff like that?
I used a different amp when I was there. I used a Vox instead of my Blue Junior, which was nice. Like I'd used a Vox before, but I like it sounds really good on a Vox. And he was like, "Yeah, you can just use any of these things as long as you don't break them."
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And he's a really nice guy. Very hospitable.
He's good at what he does too.
Yeah,
Good at
he's
it.
quick.
And you get, what is it? Frozen pizza.
Oh yeah, you get Mama. What
You
is
get,
it?
like,
Mama
frozen
Basso.
Mama
pizzas.
Basso.
Yeah, he told us to plug that sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
we just plugged Mama Basso.
Mama Basso? Is that like an Iowa City thing?
I think
I
it's
think
a
so.
pizza thing.
It's pretty good.
I'll have to try it. Yeah.
He'll even like make it for you and cut it
It's
up.
pretty sweet.
And
Oh,
He's
that's
got this
so
beautiful
crazy.
pizza pizzazz.
He also hands out T-shirts that say Flat Black if you record there.
Flam Black?
Flat
Oh,
black.
They're like the Flat Black T-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, you
It's
see those
just
wandering around
cool.
town.
Plus, he has like a space in the back that has like a stage, an outdoor stage with like building lights and stuff on it.
Yeah, he has a
'cause
festival
they
out
did
there.
the Gray Matter thing
Yeah.
out there. Yeah, that looked like such a cool thing, and I really wished I could have gone. Like, they had so many different kinds of bands playing there
Yeah.
that were all just like amazing.
I think his whole thing is that like if you haven't recorded there, then you're not gonna play
Yeah.
there, which is I think that's cool too. It's like
Hey, listen
it's
to
an
these
incentive.
bands.
Yeah.
that-
Giving people an incentive.
It's also a cool thing. It's like listen to these bands that I've recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come.
Sort of like a showcase
Experiment.
or something.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
It's
just
cool.
really it's really pretty out there, and I think
Yeah, it
It's
is.
peaceful.
yeah,
And there's camping.
it was
and
just
stuff
nice.
Like that.
It was nice to be out there and isolated and
Yeah, because it's technically in Lone Tree, right?
Yeah.
Not Iowa City, which is a bit out in the country.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's
Yeah.
not too bad.
Kind of one of the nice things about Iowa, right, is you can get out to the country without trying too hard.
Yeah.
And did that isolation and that kind of like peace help at all? Was it like, did it make it feel easier?
yeah, it was just I feel like it was like calm. It was calm. The environment was just very
Yeah.
relaxing,
Yeah.
and we were able to take time in between recording or even while someone else was being focused on to just go out and do our own thing or sit back and lounge in the little like living room area.
Cool.
It's nice to like get out of Des Moines too. Like there's a lot of good recording, like sound engineers and places to record in Des Moines, but getting out of Des Moines and not having like you're like I'm not in this city, so I like thinking about all these other things that are going on isn't really gonna help because it's like you're not here.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Like just eliminating kind of the distractions of your life
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
some degree.
Yeah.
Cool. So you said you did it all live. Was that a challenge? Because I definitely like very few times I've tried to record live, but it was hard. I thought.
Well,
It's easy if you can punch in.
yeah.
Like if you mess up, Luke's really good at like splicing and dicing parts. Oh, I'll just do this so that like
Oh yeah.
this
sure.
one thing that you can barely hear, I'll just throw this in here and it'll make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there were a couple parts that I needed to punch in for. And
Yeah.
Just tiny little things that I caught my eye. I'm like, I can do that better, but I don't want to do the whole thing again.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So-
Just like with any in your recording.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As someone who couldn't punch in, it was very stressful.
Well, yeah, because you're also like fairly new to playing drums, yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like a drummer yet, so we got there and immediately it was like, all right, check out that drum kit, see if you like it. And then we did like 2 to 3 takes of every song, and then he's like, okay, you're done. And I was like, shit, did we get it? It was scary.
Yeah, that is
sounds
scary
fun.
when somebody tells you that you're done, that you did the thing, and you're like, are
Did
you
I?
sure though?
Right. Guess I'll just listen to it later.
Yeah, and like, was that like purely out of necessity that you switched to drums, or were you like kind of excited by like the idea to just like go for it and try to?
There's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah.
I thought I would be really excited about guitar. I'd had that guitar since I was 16, and I was excited to get back to it and play it. And then the more I played it, I was like, this is kind of boring. I also don't know if I have the personality to be like a front person for the band.
Uh-huh.
And I had played drums in Lady Paw before when I lived in Oregon,
Okay.
and that was a lot different style of drumming, but I wanted to get back to it and try it and just, like Kelsey said, try a new instrument, just challenge myself and just see what I can do. So I'm still learning that, but
Yeah, certainly. You're always learning.
absolutely, yeah.
What's the point if you're not learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Drums
still
are
play
so
it in
fun.
tree branch sometimes.
It's true.
Yeah, you can always like decide to find something different about guitar, like different tuning or a different, or like just play with some dumb noises or something.
Roll around on the ground while you're playing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what Jess does.
Only during practice.
That's kind of what Tree Branch Show is all about. That was just like exploring instruments in different ways and figuring out what kinds of sounds they can make. And
Yeah, like you said, you did bowed mandolin, which
Right.
isn't normally a
Yeah.
thing necessarily.
yeah, just kind of seeing what you can do with different things.
Yeah, that's always fun. You can go ahead and plug the release show, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool lineup you've got there. Really awesome to have Lipstick Homicide come in.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
like
excited.
supreme as far as, at least in my opinion, they're like one of the best punk bands out of Iowa for sure.
And I haven't played for a while.
Yeah.
They've been like randomly playing shows very sparsely. I was surprised they said yes. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Oh, I
we were
know.
pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, big get to get.
Mhm.
And then you've also got Ramona and the Sometimes on there, and Greg Wheeler, Holly Molkops, correct? Yeah. And that's June 2nd. You've also got just like, I looked at your show calendar on Bandcamp last night, and it's like you have so many shows this summer.
Yeah, we've got a really busy summer.
So 3 of those are playing for Girls Rock,
Yeah.
and they asked us to come in for the June and July for Des Moines, and we're doing the Iowa City Girls Rock as well. Just you play a set for the girls, and then you talk with them, kind of tell them about what it's like to be a woman in the music industry.
It's
Yeah.
a really
And
neat
like
thing.
playing shows like that.
Have you done that before?
We did last year. We did 2. We did
Yeah, we
the
did
June
2
and
last
July
year.
for Des Moines. Girls Rock Des Moines last year as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice little plug for Girls Rock.
Yeah, Girls Rock is amazing.
I know Alex from Closet Witch set up a show of all bands with Alex's in them that he's doing out in the Quad Cities, which is
That's
going to
neat.
benefit Girls Rock as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're listening and you're out that direction or you don't mind driving, that's a pretty cool cause, and check out Alex Fest on Facebook.
It's called Alex Fest. That's great.
Yeah. He had this idea, and I thought he was like fully joking about it, but then all these people were like, "Yeah, I'll play Alex Fest for sure." I was like, "Let me know if you know any Patricks who want to have a Patrick Fest." 'Cause I'm in 3 bands with a Patrick. So yeah, you've got the release show, you've got the Girls Rock shows. Just announced you're on 8035,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Anything you're really excited to see at 8035?
Courtney Barnett.
Courtney Barnett for
Oh, yeah.
sure. So stoked.
There's a lot of really great.
There's a lot of really good locals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great locals. So.
I don't even look at the lineup 3 of us like work at the festival.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't expect to be able to see any of the music on us.
That's
I'm
fun.
really excited to see Foxholes. Just kidding.
I'm going to see
Oh yeah, you're
Honeycreeper
playing with
while we're
Foxholes too. I forgot that was that you guys were on there as well. Is that the first time for Foxholes?
That's the second time for Foxholes.
Cool. And also you're playing with Bad Bad Hats soon.
Yeah.
And that's like in a park. Can you talk about that series at all? Because
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Summer in the City series put on by Station One Records, which is Tom Coots and Toby Parks. And they just got a lot of funding to put on some free shows this summer, bring in some really good acts, and
yeah,
kind of highlight some of the locals as well. And then the idea is just to make it accessible for the whole community by making it free and public and out
yeah,
in parks.
and different, yeah, like in parks as opposed to just like the same old bars,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
which should be pretty cool, right? Just like doing an outdoor gig that's not in like a
Yeah.
big hot street in the middle. Of
Yeah, in a nice green area.
Yeah.
It sounds so cool, and Bad Bad Hats are so good.
Yeah, they are.
I saw, I think most, if not all, of their set when they came through 835. And see, Sires is on that too. They're really good. Who else?
Lily DeTay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Lily and Sires are half them on Station One Records label.
Right. Yeah. And I think they like collaborated a bit too, right? Gosh, we pretty much went through all of my notes already.
Oh, thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming and chatting with me about some of the minutia of being in a band. And thanks for hanging out with Rudy too. She's always excited to have company. So go and check out Honeycreeper a bunch this summer. Go to the release show. Go and see their set at 8035. Go spend an afternoon in the park seeing them with a bunch of other bands. And we're gonna close out this episode here with a very cool song called Vagina Tax, about just like how shitty dudes are, I guess.
Because every song is
Yeah, it tends to be all of those songs. Don't worry guys, we love you.
We still love you.
I just hate you.